No, not the best idea for somebody that has 4 kids. If you have no street smarts, maybe don't do this trip. There is no one else to call for backup. Guys, I need quiet. These tips are really gonna help you just keep your sanity, stay safe, and actually enjoy your time. It's kind of like, okay, what the hell do I do? Kudos to you for having the balls to go out there and be like, I am not just going to wait for the perfect situation for me to enjoy time with my kids. What's the best that can happen? ¿Qué pasa, Beast fam? Welcome back to another episode here at The Beast Den. My name is Sloan the Beast. I am a chaos coach for women navigating motherhood and business. I help you create work-life balance in a way that doesn't put you on the back burner. It makes sense for you. This is the second or third, I haven't really decided yet, video in this mini series all about being solo in New York City with my 4 kids while my husband's away at Sturgis. Again, if you're not in the motorcycle community, Sturgis is a motorcycle road trip. It's a huge road trip to North Dakota, and he happens to be taking that trip with my brother-in-law, which leaves me solo dolo in New York City for about a week and a half. I've been here at this point. Let's go ahead and get into my tips and tricks. While I love bringing you along kind of vlog style, I do want to just sit down, talk to you, share with you my top tips, my top resources, mindset tools that you may need if you are considering taking a trip with your kids. Whether or not you're outnumbered like I am, these tips are really going to help you just keep your sanity, stay safe, and actually enjoy your time. I also just want to take a second to say kudos to you, girl. Kudos to you for having the balls to go out there and be like, I am not just going to wait for the perfect situation for me to enjoy time with my kids. If you feel like you need additional support in this area, if you're like, Sloan, I want to do things with my kids, but every time that I try, I think of all of the horrible things that are happening in this world, and I'm just not comfortable, and I'm scared, and I have just mass anxiety around this. I would love to support you in this. I do have 60-minute unstuck sessions where if this is a goal for you, we can create a whole roadmap how in 30 days you can go from feeling stressed and anxious and overwhelmed about taking a solo trip with your kids to feeling fully confident, in control, ready to just take the leap and have a memorable experience with your children. You could do it right now. You could book a unstuck session with me down below, and we can get started as soon as you want, honestly. Life is meant to be enjoyed, and putting yourself in these positions is really what's going to set you up for success in the future. If ever you find yourself in a similar predicament, maybe at a point where you really didn't expect that to be the case. In my case, when I was first considering doing this and staying in the city with my 4 kids, one of the things that I considered was, okay, do I have what it takes to do this? And thankfully, because I go out with my kids often back home by myself about 1 time a week, I like to just take them out, just mommy and us time. I already kind of have my weight up in this. It's important for you to expose your children to certain situations that, you know, aren't necessarily the norm. So when people are like, no, I can't do that because my kid doesn't behave, you haven't given them the opportunity. You haven't exposed them to situations maybe where you're working and you need them to be quiet because you have a meeting going on. You haven't exposed them to situations where it's a fancy restaurant and they need to understand what are the social norms. How do you expect, what are you expected to act like in this circumstance, in this scenario? Exposure really is where they learn. You cannot expect your child to be perfectly behaved, right? Keeping in mind that that is totally subjective in different scenarios when you haven't taken the time to put them in those scenarios in the first place. It's kind of like, okay, what the hell do I do? first, let's talk about accommodations while I get comfy here. If you have the ability to get an Airbnb or to get an actual condo or apartment, that's definitely what I would recommend. In my case, I am just crashing at my brother-in-law's apartment. He was nice enough to let us stay here for the whatever week and a half, 2 weeks that we're in town. And my kids and I have kind of respectfully taken over. So why do I recommend this? Because it gives you more control over the environment, more control over the routines that you're establishing. It gives you that sense of stability away from home, which is really huge. If you are not new to my channel, then you already know my life is pretty chaotic. It's very fast paced. While our life requires a lot of flexibility from my kids, I still always look for a baseline of normacy. For me, that's having dinner or having breakfast as a family every single night. I was really excited when we were able to stay here at my brother-in-law's apartment because it has meant that pretty much every single night except for, I want to say except for maybe 2 or 3 occasions, we have been cooking at home. Really simple meals. He only has a microwave and a rice cooker, but thankfully for me, since we lived in the RV for such a long time, I already know how to do the most with very, very little. So if you have the ability to stay at an Airbnb or some sort of homey type of accommodation, I think that's really going to be beneficial for you to create that, again, baseline stability for you and your kids. So let's talk about outfits, because of course it's New York City and you want to be fly. Like, you want to look your very best. You want to look like that mom, okay? And I do feel like I've mastered the art of having a perfect mom wardrobe. I have an entire masterclass actually about finding your mom wardrobe and reinventing yourself after motherhood. Totally free, and it will definitely help you if you feel foreign to who you are after having kids. I promise you, you are going to love it. It has been raining all week long in New York City, okay? With the exception of a couple of days. I think that we're now at the end of that. So the first thing that I would recommend is rain boots or Doc Martens. I bring along my Doc Martens regardless of the trip that I'm going on, just because I never know what I'm going to expect and they're all weather. My recommendation would be, if you have a pair of Doc Martens, definitely bring those. If you have a pair of rain boots that are lighter weight, bring those, but definitely bring a pair of rain boots. The last 3 times that I've been in New York City, it is raining. So if I'm coming to New York, I'm wearing boots. And of course, a pair of sneakers. So those would be my top 2, is sneakers and boots. I don't bring sandals. If I were to bring sandals, however, it would definitely be my Tevas. I didn't bring my Tevas, however, because I need a pedicure. So there's that. Plus, I really needed to pack light because this was a very last minute trip. I had to break it down and could only bring 2 things. It would be sneakers and Doc Martens. The next thing I would say is make sure that all of your outfits match. My colors are very basic. It's literally black, white, or some sort of neutral. So these boxer shorts, I love them. I got them off Amazon. I'll link them down below. Believe they're so interchangeable. So I've worn it today with a button down. I wore them with just a Harley shirt. Choose outfits that are interchangeable. 1 pair of jeans. Make sure that you bring 1 nice outfit. I would say bring some sort of day to night dress. And it's just gonna be a lot easier for you to have variety in your outfits. 1 pair of leggings. 1 pair of jeans, 1 pair of shorts, a couple of tops that you could change amongst them and between them, and then 1 dress. Very, very simple. You don't have to complicate yourself. You really want clothes that you're going to be comfortable in, clothes that you can chase in if that's what you got to do, clothes that you can walk all day in, that's breathable. Make sure that you're choosing light materials. One thing that I do regret not bringing is a hoodie or a sweatshirt. I have so many at home and I didn't bring one because instead I brought a leather jacket, which I haven't even needed this entire time, which is another thing I would recommend. Bring an umbrella and a poncho. You can get those super cheap at the Dollar Tree. I would just stuff a couple in your bag. My boys had sweatshirts with hoodies, so which I guess technically are just hoodies. And that's what they wore. My daughter brought her raincoat and I brought my raincoat, because the worst thing is being on vacation and thinking that because it's raining you can't do anything. There's actually a lot that you can do. You just have to be properly prepared for it. Especially if you have toddlers like I do, or younger kids like I do. I was in between getting a double stroller, and then my husband came across this wagon that he picked up at, where'd he get it? He picked it up at Walmart. I did a whole bunch of Googling to see, okay, how easy would it be for me to navigate around New York with a Wagon, and it has actually been the best choice I have made. I can't tell you how many compliments I've gotten on this $200 Wagon, which if you look at how